morning. And thank you all for joining us. It is great to be here. Congressman Hill, great to see you. And we're thankful for what you do and the way you represent the great state of Arkansas. And we're glad you're home for a little while. And I see several members of our state legislature here as well, and we are glad for your presence, Judge High as well, and several members of our Little Rock and state community. So thank you for the work that you're doing. General Bridges, thank you for letting us be here today. He didn't really get a choice, but we know he was very glad to welcome in, as he always is. But also thank you so much for your leadership and your willingness to serve our great state and our country in such an admirable way each and every day. We're very thankful and humbled by the work that you do. And Colonel Ader, thank you for the introduction, and as always, more importantly, for the excellent work that you do to support our state's veterans and their families. You know, I appointed Gator to lead our state's Department of Veterans Affairs at the end of last year. Our current secretary was retiring, and I asked Gator for a few names to replace the secretary that was retiring. And when I got the list of names, he wasn't on it. So I asked to meet with him instead. I think he thought he was in trouble. And I asked him why I shouldn't just pick him. And he actually gave me a really humble answer, which for an Air Force pilot is probably a little bit shocking. But I knew he was the exact right man at the right time for the job. Gator is someone who speaks the language of government, the private sector, but most important of all, he speaks the language of our service members. And in the time since, he's worked overtime to encourage veterans to move to our state, get them great jobs once they're here, and make sure their health, their education, and their well-being are taken care of. Gator, I'm so thankful to have you on my team and for the way that you serve our state and our country so tirelessly. Thank you for the work that you're doing. And I know we already did this, but we're going to do it again because I don't think that we can do it enough. I'd like to ask all of our active duty servicemen and women and our veterans and their families who are joining us today to stand and be recognized so that we can thank them again for their great service. I think it's important that we ask the families to stand alongside these members, because while they may not be on the battlefield, they are certainly giving up a lot for their family members to be there for the service and for the sacrifice. I also want to give a special thanks to Stephen for his hard work planning today's event, especially in light of the last minute changes and still making it all happen. But the greatest thanks for today is to offer to the men and women who are not here this morning, the fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Buried at the Veterans Cemetery in North Little Rock, where we initially planned to host this event, are more than 8,000 veterans who fought in all of our country's major conflicts from World War II onward. They left the Ozarks for Omaha Beach, the Ouachita for Iwo Jima. They left behind Camden for Korea and Stuttgart for Saigon. They were in Kuwait and Fallujah, Kabul, wherever the threat, whatever the time, Arkansans have answered the call. And now those heroes lie in that hallowed ground, forever honored by our state and by our nation. In June of late last year, we marked the 80th anniversary of the D-Day invasion that liberated Europe and defeated Nazi Germany. It was a time for the free nations of the world to come together around the last surviving veterans of that conflict and pay their respects. 73,000 Americans stormed the beaches that day, including an untold number of Arkansans. Nearly 30,000 paid the ultimate sacrifice on June 6th and the bloody days that followed. In the days and the months and the years to come, many of those men were buried there in Normandy or returned home to their families, but a handful remained on the battlefield, the men who were listed as missing in action, whose remains could not be identified after the chaos of the war. One of those men was Private Roger Dean Andrews, U.S. Army Company C, 37th Engineer Combat Battalion. Private Andrews was born and raised right here in Arkansas and enlisted not long after his 18th birthday. Unfortunately, he did not live to see his 19th. Private Andrews was one of the small group of men tasked with clearing German defenses to allow other U.S. troops to land. Barbed wire, trenches, bunkers. It was his job to neutralize those threats so his brothers in arms could establish a beachhead. Private Andrews' mission was accomplished, and the United States won that day. But when the smoke of battle cleared, Andrews was gone, and eventually his name was among more than 1,500 listed on the walls of the missing at the Normandy American Cemetery. Private Andrews was MIA and remained that way for 79 years and 364 days. But on June 5th of last year, one day before the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the Defense Department's POW MIA accounting agency made an announcement. They had finally, at long last, identified Private Andrews' remains. Roger was coming home. In exactly 2 weeks, Private Andrews will return home from Normandy and be buried in his family plot in Arkansas. And a piece of Arkansas that has been missing for far too long will finally be right back where it belongs. We are a nation defined by our ideals: freedom over slavery, self-government over autocracy, liberty over tyranny. But those would just be empty words were it not for the brave sacrifices of people like Private Andrews, of the 8,000 men and women buried here in North Little Rock, of the countless names others who fought and gave their lives so that we could each be free. So let us leave here today forever grateful for all of those who have served, those who continue to serve with a renewed commitment to honor their service every day, not just today. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. And thank you for all being here to honor that today. We appreciate it. Thank you.